Hello. Let me know if you can hear me. I am trying. So I had some technological difficulties, which I think we kind of talked about a little bit on Monday. I think I fixed the problem and I think I found a way to actually view the comments where the comments are supposed to be viewed. I was having issues with that before. I think now I have it figured out. I just I just think maybe the comments might be smaller than I'm used to, or my eyes are older than I want them to be. I'm not sure which one. Um, so I think that we should be okay. All right, I'm gonna back this up just a little bit since we're doing the side by side screen. There's only like so much here. So if you saw in the description, we are going to be doing some sneak peeks from the upcoming release, Merry Moments, and that will release on October 29th is when we'll do our release party, and then right after the release party, the products will be available after that. It's a super cute release. I know that we are later in the season than we've ever been for releasing Christmas products. But as I'm sure you guys are well aware, there's been lots of issues this year with production and with getting things in a timely fashion. So that's kind of how we got backed up. But hopefully that we're still in time. It is October. Okay, so all right, I'm going to take me off because we don't need to see me for anything. Sweetheart. So, just for those of you that were curious, the last time Molly was she just needed to go potty. That was what the issue was. So she was fine. And now she's back here crying at my door. But if this continues to happen, I may have to excuse her. She may have to be sent out into the hallway. So, okay, let's take me off and then we will. Oh, I can zoom back in now because now we're just seeing my desk. Okay. So here is what I have pulled out. Oh, it probably won't bother you guys, but that does bother me that it's not even. I'm just going to scooch it over. Scooch, scooch, scooch. There we go. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to lay this here for 1 second, and I'm going to excuse our participant out of the room. Come on, little lady. You got to go. Okay. So I know that it is not that she has to go potty because I have just let her out. So, yes, anyway. Okay. So I pulled out a sentiment set. This has come from the upcoming release. This is Warm Holiday Wishes, and it has coordinating dies. These are very good size sentiments. I like these size sentiments because it's not too big, but it's not like small. So it really can be like an added element on your card. And then I've also pulled out the Lovely Layers candy cane to work with. But the star of today's show is our embossing folder. Oh, Cheryl, I'm sorry. Your dog's running around looking for the other dog. So we are going to be using this embossing folder. I'm going to throw, if I can find a piece, I'm going to throw a piece of darker colored cardstock in there so you can see it. There we go. So it's like a frame and it has this beautiful scroll work with the snowflakes. Maybe this way would be better, Kelly. I mean, it's close enough for government work. So it has like the little snowflakes in between and the scrolls. So I think this one's going to be really fun to like kind of frame in our, different kind of elements. And so today I chose the candy cane as our element. But I don't have the whole idea fleshed out yet. So I was even hesitant, honestly, to pick a sentiment because I was like, I'm not sure exactly how it's all going to come together. But nonetheless, here we are. So let's do it. I'm going to take this out. Okay. So If you guys are not familiar with 3D embossing folders, they are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful for adding textures and techniques. You know what? I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to do the folder is a 5x7. I think I'm going to do the full 5x7 so that I can kind of pick which part I want to use. So I'm going to trim my paper to that size. And then the candy cane is from last year, Corolla. Oh, I got to open my arm. You can tell by the squeaking how often I actually open the arm of this thing. Okay. All right. And then trim off that extra. And then we will emboss. So because the 3D embossing folders give us such amazing texture, sometimes you can have cracking in your cardstock, and that's more likely to happen like the thicker cardstock that you use. But if you use cardstock that is too thin, it could rip it. So there's like a good sweet spot. I am using just my Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock. But if you're using a thicker cardstock, you can just spritz it with water, and that helps the paper to be a little bit more malleable. Malleable. Pronunciation is important. And then I'm going to stick this in here like this. Now you don't have to, but I do like to tape my bottom edge so that I know it's not going to pop open and nothing's going anywhere while I'm getting my things together. I know some of you have like a designated setup for where your die cutting is. I don't, because it's on my floor behind me so that I can just grab it when I need it. So typically I have a platinum 6, and so typically your sandwich would be an A plate, a B plate, a C plate, then your dies, and then your other C plate. When we're doing 3D embossing folders, we actually remove the B and the C plate, and so we just have the A plate, our folder with our paper already in it, and then the D adapter plate. And then you just put it through. You shouldn't be working super hard to get this through. And then I'm just going to open it and show you, because we do have to do more die cutting. So there's no point in, that's a mask from a completely different set. Let me just move that over there. Okay. So then here is our beautiful embossing. You can see I did get some bigger droplets on my paper, but I think it's going to be okay once it dries. So there's our frame. Super pretty. We're going to do lots of inking and stuff over top of that. So let's knock out the rest of our die cutting real quick. My desk, because while honeybee is one of my most fun jobs, it is not my only job. I have been working on other things, and we have like the best daycare. We have the most wonderful daycare. She is a mom of 5 herself. Her kids are grown now, and she is one of the moms of one of the dispatchers that I used to work with. And she's wonderful and lovely. But because her kids are grown now, she is, so here, this is the base layer of the candy cane, and then there's 2 different stripes. So you can layer all 3 or just do 1 and 2. I'm actually going to do a little trick with that. So I'm going to do red, green, green. Yeah. Okay. So this is all we're cutting out of white right now. So anyway, but now that her daughters are older, she has one son. But anyway, her kids are having kids. That is the point. So oh, Corolla, thank you so much. Peanut butter and jelly bean are going to be jelly beans going as Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters, and Peanut is going as a inflatable. It's like an alien that has picked up the kid and is like running away with him. It's very cute. If you follow me on Instagram, I will post pictures. All right, so that's this one here, and it cuts out so you can, layer them together. Then, oh, you know what? I should have done that out of red. But anyway, so now my daycare lady, all of her kids are having kids, and understandably so. She wants to be with her children when they're having her grandchildren. But this time, her daughter was her daughter went into labor right on her wedding anniversary. So she was like out of town for her wedding anniversary, and then she was out of town for her the birth of her grandchild. I am going to do this again, but I am going to do the stripedy one. I should have done the stripedy one out of red to begin with, but anyway. Anyway, so my daycare was closed this week, and so my husband and I were splitting the difference from what my wonderful mother-in-law could not cover. And so he took off Monday, I took off yesterday, and so we are just like trying to make it through, y'all. Which means like last night I was up late trying to play catch up with work, and that means there's just stuff everywhere on this desk. Okay, so now we have the red stripedy one. Okay, question. When I die cut with my Platinum 6, the top plate that I never cut into, I have to go back to that. Transfers onto my paper. How do I prevent that? So, oh, hi, Carla. You really can't. It's from the pressure. Here, see, I have it too. I don't know if you can see it or not. But it's from the pressure of the machine as it goes through. But I'm actually glad that you said that, because here is my little trick. So this candy cane goes one direction, right? And I want my candy cane to go the other direction. So the problem with doing it in the other direction is your plate, right, has all these markings in it. So I am going to put this is how it normally goes, right? But we want to use this piece. So this piece, where did I put it, guys? Were you paying attention? Were you paying attention? Because I surely was not. What did I do with my can? There it is. Okay, so the back piece always has like all of these marks in it. But I want to use the back piece without those marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is just regular copy paper, and I'm going to make a little folder out of my copy paper. And this is going to give me a little bit of protection. So I'm going to have this in here. I'm actually going to do it this way so that I can save on some paper, because I want to be able to color this side. So I'm going to hold it down with a piece of tape. I'm going to put this into my little folder here. And then when I feed it through, it should save my, because if you use it like a brand new clean plate, it also won't leave marks because there's no marks to leave. But I mean, I don't know about you. I don't have just a bunch of clean plates laying around. So I don't want to, there we go. Okay. And so here is our little die cut, and it is mostly clean on the other side. Oh, I have a zoomer. I forgot. Zoom, zoom. So it is mostly clean on the other side. It does have that little bit of embossing, but We're going to put the stripes over it, so I'm not worried about that, but we should have a smooth surface to color on and not have any issues with. And then, obviously, our little folder has been cut through. Let me back up again. But when I do the next piece out of the red, it's not going to be in the same spot, so I don't have to worry about it. So this one is out. You know what? I'm going to switch and use this one so that way they don't have the same stripe. So then I'll do this one. I keep one for this reason, and you don't have a clean set of plates. Oh, I do. You're right. Brandon, actually, I do have a clean set of plates because my husband did buy them for me at Brandon wonderfully was like, hey, it would be a great idea to get her new plates. And he was right. It would be a great idea to get me new plates. But I will not use those new plates until these ones break. And when I mean break, I mean crack to the point that they are no longer usable, because my frugal husband married a cheap chicken and I am who I am. All right, so now this is the second stripe for the red. And I apologize if that's, oh, you know what? I did ask you guys if you could hear me, and you said loud and clear, so I hope that's true, because I realized in the cleaning off of my desk, my microphone is not in its usual spot. So I hope you aren't having any issues hearing me. If you are, I can always move that a little bit closer. And then here, this is actually stuck. My little copy paper is actually stuck to it, so I can just peel that right off. All right, so now I have my two solids and my two stripes, and one is going to go one way and one is going to go the other way. Okay, so there is that. Now we need our bow. We don't need our little folder anymore, but we are going to cut our bow out of this. And our berries. Can I fit that? I'm like, honestly, I'm the cheapest person ever. I'm always trying to find a way, like, can I fit this in here? Sure enough, I can. It's like edge to edge, but that'll work. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Pam, I do hope that helps. The other thing is, like, here, mine is super dirty. Like, I don't know if you can see it or not. You probably can if I put it up against something white. It's like gray. Okay, it's not supposed to be that color. If that's why I have not flipped my plate. Honestly, could I just wash it? Absolutely. And Jennifer McGuire's little trick of boiling it will straighten it back out as well and clean it. So why I haven't done that? Just because I don't have time. But anyway, so if you make sure that it's clean, you're also less likely to have any marks on it as well. Okay, so we're doing that. I need this little teeny tiny piece. Don't be like that. I don't want to have to repaint my nails. Thank you. Okay, put that on there. Grab some more tape. I got markers falling everywhere. Can you hear that? It's because they're stacked up, a mountain of markers. Bye, Brandon. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, I do need to get this. Pardon if my son calls it my muffin, my top knot. Which all of you, by the way, were very kind with your commentary about my haircut. Thank you very much. It was very nice of you. All right, so I also have this one. I'm going to do the pine sprig out of this darker green, and I'm going to do the holly out of the lighter green. So I'm just going to trim this down this way, I think. So that way I can kind of fit all of them in there. tape, tape. Okay. Let me scoot this back. There's not a lot of room back here. Got some cords and things in the way. Okay, because normally I die cut on my floor, remember? So I don't need all the real estate up here. Okay, and then this green. I wish I had a smaller piece, and I probably do in my scraps. Let me, oh yeah, see, I do right here. So I will just use that. Oh, Susan very kindly sent me the video from the one I did with the mini fall florals last year. Remember, we were talking about that on Monday. And that one was, that's why I couldn't find it. It was a use your scraps video. So that is why I had some trouble locating it. But she was a huge help in helping me find that. Okay, so let's make sure all our things are lined up. I am notorious for just not making sure things are lined up and then just rolling it through, which is not good. Don't do that. do as I say, not as I do, because it's not good for your machine to do it that way. You risk ruining your plates or ruining your rollers, and you don't want to do that. All right, I got to get this where it's, there we go. And then I can back that up. Okay. And then this should be the last, this should be the last bit of die cutting that we have to do. Hockey, this green is Peridot from Spellbinders. Okay. There's that. There's the berries. And I'm actually going to leave those in their die because I feel like it will be easier for me to keep track of them. And over here. Okay, and then I apologize. I'm trying to move the things out of the way as I am taking them out, because otherwise it's just going to end up like everything else on my desk. And then I'm just going to be, okay, so this one is a more intricate die, and I can see that it cut down here, but I'm a little bit nervous about the middle. Like if it cut in the middle. So I'm going to run this back through at an angle, because sometimes that does help us cut more intricate dies, not going like straight on, doing it at an angle. Okay, so now let's check. Oh yeah, see, now that looks much better. That looks like it'll just pop right out now. So if you're using a more intricate die and you just can't seem to get it, try putting it in at like a diagonal. Now, sometimes with bigger dies, that's a little bit more challenging to do, but with these smaller pieces, see, and then after doing it the second time like that, it just popped right out. What did I do? What did I do with my pokey tool? Well, there it is. I was going to say, you know, I always have my busted up yellow one that stabbed my husband. Okay. So we'll put that with that. My berries just, I guess I'm just going to have to commit to this little piece being out and free floating. All right. So that goes on there. No, sir. Thank you. All right. And then we can move this and all of its accessories back to the floor. Okay. And then scoot the die cuts you actually want to keep so that you can clean up the die cut shrapnel. All right, so we have our 2 candy canes. This one this way, this one this way, and then this one this way, and this one this way. I think that'll be cute. And then we'll have the little bundle, and then that'll be in the center of our embossing folder. Okay, so I'm going to set those over here. I am going to get this. Oh no, why did I not wet this? Guys, I'm the worst. That's okay. We'll just do it with a spray bottle. Okay, so this is our embossing folder. I have picked a couple of different distress inks. So I picked blue, but I'm wondering, no, I already have the stuff out for this. We're going with blue. Okay, but I think a teal would be pretty. That's what I was going to say. Okay. Now, here is my blue. Okay. Well, Hockey, that is the nice thing about the dies, because we can use them over and over again. Like that design, you only use 1 candy cane. Another design, you might want to use 2. All right. So we're doing our ink blending. We're starting off of the paper and bringing it on. You guys know that when I have a focal point in the center of my card, I do very much like to do what I call the halo effect. And so adding the inking around the edges will help create a focal point in the center. I really love this kind of frosty blue we've got going on here. And obviously, I'm not going to make a 5x7 card. I'm going to make an A2 size card. So we will lose some of this. But I do kind of want you to be able to see it in all its glory. Is anyone here trying out the new mustache site for keeping up with your craft supplies? I did go in and use that a little bit. It seems very, very user friendly. I know Honeybee is participating. Not all companies are. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't add it yourself. You can. It just means that it's not kind of preloaded. Okay, so that's the Salty Ocean. Okay. Jackie says she loves 5x7. Should we do a 5x7 card? Should we? That seems crazy to me. I hardly ever make them. All right. I'm open to doing it. You guys give me your feedback and tell me what you think. Hockey, it's a new app that basically you can keep track of your stash in. And some of the companies, Honeybee, I know Gina K is, are participating in it. So that way their stuff is kind of like their stock is already preloaded in there, and then you can just click on it to add it. Or you can, I think, take a picture yourself and then label it. And then once it's added, other people can also add it based on what you've added. So the more people who use it, the more user-friendly it kind of becomes. Do you like inking on the glass mat versus sticking mat? I'm debating on buying a glass mat. I do like inking on the glass mat. I find that because of, I don't know if it's how much ink I put down or what it is. with the sticky mat, if I'm doing a lot of ink blending, like something like this, that eventually it does start to get unstuck. So I do prefer my glass mat. Plus, honestly, it's easier to clean up. All right. So we're working our way out. Okay, so it seems like we got a couple of votes for a 5x7. I'll do a 5x7. I don't have anything to lose. All right, and so now we're doing the chipped sapphire. Okay. So I do have an idea for a little technique to do with the embossing folder. I'm actually working on another video where I used some 3D embossing folders. So I guess maybe I'm just in the zone with them. I don't normally promote it because I don't know why I don't, but I do have a code for Glassboard Studios. That's who mine is. Through, and you can pick any of the ones you want. I picked the custom one because like the florals in my corner are my own illustrations, and it is the birth flowers of myself, my husband, and both of our children. But you don't have to choose the custom one. They have lots of really, really beautiful ones. But because I do this for a living, I just wanted something that was neutral. And I know a lot of people have chose like the gray, but I like the white. I can't help. I like white in general. Oh, you know what? So I couldn't find my black blending brush. I don't know what happened to it. I was looking for it before and then I got sidetracked. But anyway, on my personal channel, if you're, there is a link and a coupon code in my YouTube descriptions if you are interested in Glassboard Studios. They also have some new fun stuff coming out tomorrow. I'll be live on my own channel tomorrow, and I'll be able to show you guys that too. All right, so I know not everybody is like, oh my gosh, the black is so black, you don't need to go that dark, but the black is where the drama is. And the black doesn't stay black. So as you are like adding it right now, it looks super black. But once we go back over it, because you know we always ink blend twice, once we go back over it with our darker colors, it becomes more of a navy. It's not a true black anymore, but we do need it. Thank you guys so much. You're so complimentary. As you work back into your lightest color, and then when we do the technique works the best when we have contrast. So we got to go a little bit darker. All right. And you know that I love blue. Blue is my boyfriend. Okay. Oh, Corolla. Can I tell you? So the other day, I told you my daycare is closed. So it's been very hectic around here. Plus, we have a lot of fall activities. So like this past weekend, we took the kids to a farm to do like a little fall thing with the hayride and all that jazz. That's a story time for another time. Pick our pumpkins, blah, blah, blah. We carved pumpkins. We did another kind of little Halloween craft, which I loved because it was only like $3 from the dollar store. But anywho, so we did all of that and I was trying to make dinner and it was very just hectic and kind of overstimulating, quite honestly. And my husband was helping my son do something, and my 3-year-old daughter was very impatient, and she wanted me to turn on the witches movie, Hocus Pocus. Okay, she wanted me to turn on Hocus Pocus, but I was doing my butter, garlic, salt, and pepper for my green beans, and I put it in the pan, and I had it, like, listen to me when I tell you I did not have it on high. Okay. And I went over to find her movie. I couldn't find it, and I burned my garlic. I am not kidding you when I say that I burned it 3 times. Three. Trace. 1, 2, 3. I burned it 3 times trying to get her movie on. I was so aggravated. I was so aggravated. Oh, and it wasn't anybody's fault but my own. Like, I should have just waited until I was done doing one thing and to do the other, but I didn't. Decisions were made. Lots of garlic was lost. Okay. So the other thing that is super important, like, we're going in with our last color, but it's our brightest color. So we do want to make sure that we're going over all of this other inking, because it's going to add that brighter blue back in and help it to be so much more vibrant. Oh, you have the laptop on the kitchen counter. Hi, Linda. Oh, yeah, I could see how I could get distracted by crafting though. So yeah, we had my son went to his friend's house to have a movie night with his buddies, and they were watching spooky movies. So that night that he went to his friend's house, Jelly Bean and I also had a little movie night. And so we watched Hocus Pocus, and now that's all she wants to watch. She only wants to watch the Hocus Pocus. It is fun. It's a good movie. I have not seen the second one. But my husband, who did have to see it one morning, said that it was not as good as the first one. How do you keep your brushes from not getting contaminated with the other colors? So I am different than a lot of people, because one of the first investments that I made into my craft room, once I realized what kind of card maker I was my inks, specifically my distress inks. The other investment that I made is also into my brushes. So I don't mix them for the most part. So like let me get them all here. So like we just did all of that ink blending, and like every single one of these is a different brush. The Salty Ocean, the Blueprint Sketch, or Prize Ribbon, they're about the same. Chip Sapphire and Black Soot. So not everybody can afford to do that. But because I use my ink so much, I use them in basically every card that I make. To me, it's worth the investment. But there are other ones that I do mix, because not everybody uses the same types of brushes anymore. So there are other ones that I do mix. But for the most part, I only mix them in the same color family. Okay. Okay, I am going to hit this with my heat tool. Oh, yes. So oxides you can't mix. It literally, oxides will clog up the brush bristles and make it very difficult to get a smooth blend. So I have specific ones for oxides. I do not use them with the ones that I use for my distress inks. All right, so you might be asking yourself, Kelly, why are you drying these? Well, because we want to be able to do the technique, and distress inks are made to stay wet longer. And so in order to be able to do the technique, I need the distress ink to be mostly dry. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of people, and like when I took over for Kelly Cahoot here, there's a lot of people in the honeybee kind of hive, the honeybee hive, that really do prefer their distress oxides. I just don't find them to be as vibrant as the distress inks, and I don't think they blend as well. Personal opinion. Okay, how do you label your brushes? I mean, how do you know which one is which? I noticed they're not labeled. Yeah, I just can tell by the colors because I do this every day, Maria. So if I'm using an anti-static tool. If I had, like, back in the day when I wasn't in my craft room every single day because, I didn't do it for a living, I would have just kind of like held them up to the ink pad. Or you could just use like a regular label maker. I got a very cheap one for my bins, for my stamp bins off of Amazon. And you can do like different fonts and stuff, which is fun. My sister likes to use that to do different labels for different companies. But yeah, you could just put a label, even like, because you have your company label on the front, you could just do the label right on the back. Or if you hold yours by the hand and not by the head, you could put it on the head and it would probably be more likely to stay there. Okay, so this is a Tim Holtz brayer. I also have a Speedball brayer, but I don't know where that is. So there's a couple of different sizes. This is the medium, and our Brilliant White Pigment ink. It is contaminated because I was doing another technique, but it doesn't affect the color. So I am going to roll this to get it good and covered. Do you remember who used to have those? They were like 4 different colors of ink in one pad, and you use the brayer with them to get like a vibrant, like a rainbow. Those were fun. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to add our white pigment ink right over top. It's not going to be perfect. Remember that, because there are some areas that it kind of dips down. So we're not going for perfection here, but it's going to, oh, it was Colorbox, Sherry. Yes. The kaleidoscope pads. Yeah. You guys are so helpful. So if you want to make sure that you get more ink down, you can go at it from different angles and it will put ink down on different parts. That does increase the chance that you will put ink down on the background. That personally doesn't bother me because I already know going into this technique that it's not going to be completely clean, and that doesn't bother me at all. Okay. So now this is where it would be helpful to have that wet rag that I did not bring into my craft room. So I'm just going to clean this up real quick. Feet. So I am going to be using an embossing powder that is a clear sparkle. So it's a sparkle, but there is no pigment in it. It's just clear embossing powder and glitter. What was the embossing powder tool company? Oh, that is from the Rabbit Hole Designs, but I do believe Honeybee does carry it in their shop. All right, so we're going to dump this all on here. And remember what I told you, that distress inks are made to kind of grab, to stay wet longer so that you can emboss with them. And obviously, as you can see, the more ink that you put on, the longer it stays wet. So I'm not overly concerned. I'm going to pick this up and put this back in here so that I can really kind of knock this thing around. There we go. Okay, so you can see that there is some still here in the middle. I don't think that really matters as much because we're going to be putting our, help me. We're going to be putting our candy cane there. But again, it's not going to be perfect. I do like to just go in and kind of dust up the areas where it's like very clearly the square edge of the pad. I don't want that in there. But other than that, because it's clear and it's not any, like there's no pigment in it, I don't care if there's more sparkle in other places. That does not bother me. Okay, so now we'll have to clean up that again. And then we can heat set it. Oh, I have, I have embossing powder a lot of places. Okay. Glitter, the herpes of crafting. You can never get rid of it. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, I used Rabbit Hole, but they don't back it. Sherry, what does that mean? Did you have an issue with it? So we're just going to move through this until everything is nice and melted. I hope everything's okay with Mom, Denise. Okay. So you can see as we're moving, it's becoming less. Got to switch so I can do the other side. Okay. Okay, so now check out. We got all this glittery background, which I totally love. I think it's really, really pretty. I am going to, I know we said we'd make a 5x7 card, but see this part down here, because like the embossing goes all the way to the edge up here and is a little bit short down here. I am going to trim it just a little bit. Now, another thing about 3D embossing folders, if you're going to trim them, the slider trimmers can tear it. Ask me how I know. I fought and fought and fought buying a guillotine trimmer. It became floppy and didn't work properly, so I mailed them. They said some people are just hard on them and they would not stand behind it. I only had it a few months and was gentle. Ugh. Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. It does look like a Cinderella background, Connie. Like if we put just like a little crown in there or a little pumpkin. All right, so I'm going to trim this off so that it is level with the one up here. And then I think that was about 1/4 inch. Yeah, okay. So now on my sides, I'm going to have to do the same thing. But I just want to take a little bit off of each side. And then we can mount it on, you know, it'll have like a little frame. Because there's nothing I can do about the fact that the bottom was what it was. Okay. So now we'll do this here. Nope, we won't. We'll do this here. Get it together, Kelly. Oh, because it was already at 5. Genius. Pay attention to your math measurements. Life's hard. Okay. There we go. And then that one hooks into there. So I think I'm just going to double check It's just shy of 7, but it is not. I think we need to trim off a little bit more on this side, honestly. I just want to make sure that it is. There we go. Oh yeah, with a little glass slipper, that would be so fun. All right. So I will say, which a lot of people don't realize this, and I don't know, Sherry, if you still have yours or not, but like, so, you know, your canister, you take off your back, unpop that to refill it, right? But there also is this, you can turn this here, and then that will let out more or less powder. So if you've turned it where it was all the way down, it may not produce any powder. Not that it stopped working, but that it's on the setting where it isn't sending out a lot. You know what I'm saying? My guillotine is very sharp, and I would highly recommend the Spellbinders guillotine. I like that it's compact and, you know, it gets the job done. I actually got mine, and the holidays are coming up, but I got mine in a holiday bundle. So I was able to get it for a really, really good price with some other things like these amazing shears. Can we all just have a moment of silence to listen to the shears? They're so good. Even my sister, who does not craft at all, used these for something, and she was like, ooh, those are good scissors. Like, you just know when they're good scissors. What's the powder? The powder is so like for years we had these, like the talc powder, which reminds me a lot of bowling, the rosin bags or baseball. And so it would be filled with the powder, and then the powder would get rid of all the anti-static. So this is the powder in here, and that is what helps keep your paper from having any static. Now, I have not used the Tailored Expressions one. Sherry seems to think that it's just as good, which, hey, I'm here for. But I will say this one is my favorite one that I have ever used. Okay, so this is our background. I'm going to set this to the side so that we can, well, I need to do, let me see, what do I have in here? Do I have a full piece? Will this work? I don't really like that. Maybe I'll do white. I want to cut my backer piece before I forget that I didn't do a true 5x7 card. So now I'm going to switch to, oh, you don't have the background beeping alarm. So it's not a beep. It's actually called a coil whine, and it is my laptop. And that's why you could always hear it like in my voiceovers and stuff, because my microphone would sit right on my laptop while I was watching the video and I was voicing it over. So now I have flipped where I do my voiceovers. So I'm not sitting directly in front of the laptop, and it seems to be better. I also have, like I said, my microphone is in a different place. So that does seem to be helping. Is there a trick to that tool? I can't get the powder to come out. Yeah, so that's what we just talked about, is like, okay, there we go. I think white's fine. Is the turning of the, what did I just do with that? Lord have mercy on my soul. If my head was not attached, I don't know what I just did with it. But anyway, you turn the bottom, and that's how you get the powder to come out, more or less. Okay. I don't have a Tonic or a Tim Holtz, so I can't compare it, Lisa, but I do like my Spellbinders, and they typically have them in like a sale bundle for the holidays. Okay, so here is our, I'm just going to go ahead and glue this while we're here. Normally I don't do that. Normally I am let's make the whole thing, and then we'll glue all the pieces parts together. But maybe I could be different today. Okay. I like putting mine on at an angle because then it lets me see 3 of the 4 sides to make sure that everything is even. This is also why I like liquid adhesive, because it gives me that little bit of wiggle room, pardon, so that I can get everything lined up, or I can move it if I need to. You need to come down. Okay. All right. So now we have our nice white border and our glittery frame. All right. Now we're going to set that aside. Now, ooh, when I say that I have embossing powder everywhere, like, I'm not kidding. It's like when you take your kids to the beach and then the sand follows you for months or years on end. That's how I feel right now. Okay. There we go. Okay. So they actually have, Maria, they have a refill that you just buy. Okay. So, oh, I just flung our. So there's this and there's this. I gotta look at them to figure out this is the one that gets flipped this way. And this is the one that gets flipped this way. Okay. So these go like this. Gotta make sure. All right, let's do some coloring. You didn't think we were going to get out of this without any coloring, did you? Never. Never. All right. I do need some tea, though. Let's zoom in. All right. So you guys have heard me say this before. When we're coloring something striped, way easier to just color the whole thing in with your whites and then do the stripes on top of that. So this one is curving this way. So I'm going to have the darkest edge be on this side. This one is curving this way. So the darkest edge is going to be on this side. And then remember, when we are coloring something white, we're only adding the shadows. We are not adding the actual color. The color is the white of our paper. So we do want to preserve the white. I mean, I am going to go back in and use this. I just have to figure out which. Okay. So we're going to go over that darkest color to get that to blend. And then we're going to follow the stripes. So these ones are down. So I'm flicking down. These ones are up, so I'm flicking up. And I'm just following the shape that is already laid down there. Okay, same thing on this one. I don't know why I try flicking towards myself. I never like it. Okay. And then this one is up this way. Oh, thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate your support. Okay. Then What is your favorite paper for alcohol markers? Mary, I like a Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock. That is what I use for all of my whites. It's a good weight because alcohol markers blend in the fibers of your paper. So you want to have them to be able to saturate the paper. Like you want them to be saturated. That's what helps them blend. Kelly, do you sketch out your card plans or you just make lives off the cuff? Girl, my whole life on a wing and a prayer. There is no plans here. Madam, drives my husband insane. I'm always like, yeah, we'll work it out. It'll work out. It'll be fine. Mostly because like whatever is meant to be will be. Like God's got it. I don't have to worry about that. And I do because I have severe anxiety, but I try to be good about it. All right, so now that is our white. It looks gray. Hi, Anne. Looks gray, but that's because we haven't added anything else to it. So don't fret. It won't stay gray. All right, so now we're going to do something a little bit different. I am going to pull out my usual, the huge. Well, I would be if I could find my R35. Where are you? Tricky. Okay, so I like what we call a cool red. It is more blue based. That is the one that I prefer. But because I want my berries and my bow to be a different color than my candy canes, Beth Ann, should you invest in a gray set? I 110% recommend everybody have a gray. But if you're collecting the Altenew artist markers, they do have a set that has grays in them. I think it's E like Edward or maybe D like David. Check one of those. I think they do have a set of grays in there that you can use. Okay, so these are what we call our cool reds. Now we also have 24, 27, 24, like more tomato-y reds. I have this one in both of these, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's because this one is probably low. Nope, it isn't. Is it this one? Nope, it isn't. All right, so we're going to go with, where's the 22? Here it is. All right, so these are more like orangey reds. I'm going to show you these ones as well so you can see. So these definitely have more of a purple undertone versus these ones have more of an orange undertone. So I am going to color them two different colors. Even though they're cut out of the same colored cardstock, it doesn't matter. With the markers, we can stretch our supplies to make them look different. So I am going to do my cools on these. So I'm going to start the same way we did over here, right? So it's curved in on this side. So this edge is going to be darker. Now I am, because I'm actually coloring it a color. Hi, Nina. I am going to kind of flick this color out into those red spaces, whereas before we were trying to preserve the white. So I didn't need to move the darkest color into those spaces. So, okay, there we go. And remember, these candy canes have 3 layers. So I chose 2 different layers to do the candy cane. So they won't be exact copies of each other. All right. Oh, look, you can't even tell what that says. It's an R29. All right. So now we're going to go over this darkest one and flick that out. Now, I will be honest, this R35 you're not even really going to be able to see. But the point of it, its purpose is to blend our markers into the cardstock so that we don't have a hard stop where our markers stop, and it will just blend seamlessly into that cardstock color. Oh, you're making Halloween cards with your grandsons? That's so fun. Yeah, we did. Well, I told you guys a little bit ago, we did a little craft with the kids. Well, my daughter wanted to do a craft, and my husband was cutting the grass. So it was just her and I hanging out. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to run up to the dollar store. And we did a little craft that we actually did. I did for Peanut's Halloween party back when he was in elementary school. All right, so that's these. And then see, they'll lay over. And then we will have cute little candy canes. Or if you were a person who, I'm just going to flip this over. If you wanted to do the 2 layers, then, hold on, I got all of them in my hand. It would look like this, where we had the 2 different reds, which I actually really like. I think that's super fun. And then the thinner white stripe. So anyway, this is a great one for your kids or your grandkids because it's super cheap. It entertains them for hours. I went to the dollar store. I bought 1 package of white balloons, which was like 20 balloons. And then I bought a package of 6 glow sticks. The ones that they had there, because they were on sale, was the red, white, and blue ones, but it doesn't even matter because you can do any color you want. Your ghost can be any color. And then I also purchased a pack of like super, super cheap glue sticks because my little is very much in the stage where she wants to do everything by herself. God help us, pray for me. And then we bought a little thing of construction paper. I don't need this one. We did decide that my 27 was full, didn't we? Didn't we decide that? And I put it back in anyway. Okay. These 3 are the tomatoey reds. That's what we're going to use for our bow and our berries. And so anyway, you put the glow, before you blow it up, you put the glow stick in the balloon. You snap it first, obviously, so it glows. And then you put it inside the balloon, then you blow the balloon up. Then on the construction paper, like we just used black, and I let her draw her eyes and her mouth. We cut them out, and then we use the glue sticks to glue them to our blown up balloons, and then they're glow in the dark ghosts. And even my 12-year-old who, is too cool for certain stuff now, they played with them for hours because the sun was down. And so we turned off all the lights in the living room and they just bounced those little ghosts all around the house for hours and hours. Super cheap, hours of fun. Okay. So any point where 2 things meet or where one lays on top of the other is where we're going to add the shadows. So we have to decide what the loops. I want these loops to be behind these loops. So I'm adding the shading here and here. I want these loops to be behind these loops. So I'm adding the shading here and here. That's pushing these 2 loops forward because they're lighter colors. So same thing here. I want these tails to be underneath my loops. So I'm going to add the shading here. I want these tails to be underneath these loops. So I'm going to add the shading here. When we look at the loops, we want one to be on top of the other. Now they have embossed edges. So I can just follow that line and know that I'm going to add shading to either side of this one. And then that's going to push that to the forward. Now we haven't even added any other colors and you can already see the dimension that we've added to this bow with literally just one other color. Same thing here. So this berry is behind these 2. So it's furthest in the back. So we're going to add the shading here. This berry is the most forward berry. So I will also add shading here. I'm also going to add just a little dot into that center embossed part. I'm not going to add my darkest color to the middle of the bow. Now, we're going to go in and we're just going to do what we know we've been doing. We're going to find those areas where we put in the shadow and we're going to extend that out. You can even add in just a little bit from the bottom. But I want to keep those pieces that I want on top nice and light. Same thing here. Now with my mid-tone, I do usually like to wrap around the edge so that the lightest part is seated right below the little like dimple of the berry. And again, this one we're not even really going to see. This is just going to help blend our colors so that there isn't that hard stop. Okay, this is the one. You know what? I am going to go back. I'm going to go back to this 24 and add. Why do I have two ends off? Who knows? All right, and add this to just the bottom there. And then I will just go right over that with that. Okay, now can you see the can you see the difference of how this one is much more orange and then this one is much more like purple or blue based? It's just cooler. So we can get different looks out of different color combinations that are even in the same family. Can you adopt me? I do think adoption is a wonderful, wonderful thing. At one point in my life, I had hoped to adopt. It just wasn't in the cards for me. But yes, I have a wonderful family. I could adopt you, and you could be adopted into my wonderful family. Okay, I and several others recommended you to another YouTubers who wanted to learn how to use Olo. Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Okay, so now we're going to do the greens. I am going to go G29, G17, I think. And then this one, we're going to go with the usual. Okay. So this one, we're not going to add a ton of stuff to. We're going to add a little bit of dimension with this one, blend it out with this one. This one, because it's a lighter color, we do have to put in just a little bit more work. But I'm going to do these two kind of as my shading colors, and then this one will blend it out. All right, so now these, I pretty much just go up the middle and then just kind of fan out into some of the needles. I think sometimes it's harder to explain when you're doing less work because people are like, no, tell me exactly what you want me to do. And it's like, sometimes like this, I really am just coloring right up the middle and then just flicking out into some of them. And honestly, I don't even think we need the 17. I think that's going to be fine just the way it is. All right. And then this one. All right. So we're going to come up the middle with it. Oh, I'm holding it. I'm holding it. All right, we're going to come up the middle, and then we are going to do little triangles, but we're going to point them down. We're going to point our triangles down to the shape of the leaf. I know it looks crazy. Stay with me. Stay with me. All right, triangle, triangle. Long triangles. I'm not going to do that one. It's too close to the center. Okay. Looks weird. I know. Make sure when you're following the line, you're following the shape of the leaf. Back to long triangles. Sometimes, like this one right here is too close. I'm not even going to put a triangle there because it'll just get muddy. Okay. Now, we're going to go in with the 17. We're going to go over this middle. We're going to kind of extend it out in between those triangles. And then we're going to extend our triangles down. But there should still be a little bit of light color in between your triangles and your center. So up through the middle, and then triangles, and then flick in between. Now, sometimes it's unavoidable. They do start touching. It's okay. It's okay. We're just trying to, can you bring it closer? Yes, I can. All right, there we go. So we have the triangles. Up at that middle section, triangles. And then in between the little triangles, we're going to flick our color up into those gaps. Last one. I do enjoy the process very much, Maria. Thank you for asking. I enjoy coloring very much. And I like chatting with you guys. So it's like the best of both worlds. So now I'm with the lightest color, and now I'm just flicking out from the center. Oh, look at, do you see what's happening here? I need to replace this nib. It's coming off. I do have another one of these because it's one of my most used colors, but I'm hoping that I can just make it through this without having to find a new one. So then once we go through and we're using this, you know, to blend this color out, it gives our holly so much more dimension than just if it was just the flat color. So let me back this up. There we go. Okay, so now we have all of our elements. Now, if I was like, there's so many other things that you can do with this. I'm not going to do that because I recognize that I have a problem. And when I am doing this, and it is because it needs to be replaced. So this marker is one of the first markers that I ever got. And so it's just old and worn out. You can see like how floppy it is. It just needs to, be replaced. And that does happen sometimes. Okay. So anyway, I am a chronic do more than I need to because I want to do all of the things. And I recognize that about myself. And so I am just going to clean this up. I learned how to color with Copics from you and Marker Geek. I love Elaine. Elaine Hughes is Marker Geek, and she is so talented. She does have a YouTube, but I don't think she does voiceovers, or at least she didn't. That might be different now. But she does have a YouTube channel, and she is fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to start gluing these together. So I'm not squeezing. I'm just kind of letting the glue flow out, which is really easy for me because I do store mine in the Honeybee glue holder. You guys probably never see it because it's off camera. So it's always stored like vertically, and then that way when I'm ready. But see, what I just did was I didn't put the lid back on, and I just set it there. And that's why sometimes you see me having such a hard time with my glue, and it's because I didn't cap it. And that is a user error. Okay. All right, so there's one candy cane. And now we're going to do the other candy cane. Oh, I'm having a hard time holding this one for some reason. The first one didn't give me any trouble at all. Okay. I thought I got glue on the front of it. There we go. All right. So now we'll put this one down. Sometimes I find it easier to just hold them in my hands and kind of scooch them into place versus trying to keep them flat. It is a little bit messier to try to do it this way sometimes, but I do find it to be easier. All right. So there is candy cane number 2. Okay. So now I'm going to do, where's my little guy at? Oh, look at my glue is leaking. Why are you doing that? I don't know. I just need a little bit to put the center on. Boop. Okay. All right, so now we have our 5x7 card. We have our candy cane and our candy cane. And then we will do our little leaf sprigs and our little holly and our ribbons. So let's now play around with some placement. I don't want them to be perfectly symmetrical. I think I'm going to, okay. I'm going to trim off 2 of these little sprigs so that I can tuck them where I would like them. So I'm just going to cut them apart. Alternatively, like if I was just in my craft room kind of doing my own thing, I would maybe look up the winter greenery that also has some sprigs in there that could be used, and maybe cut one of those just to have a different one. But you can absolutely do this with just whatever you have on hand. Okay. There we go. Okay, that way I have a few extra pieces I can tuck in. All right. I kind of want you to be, okay. And we'll do this in the middle. And we can tuck in our little sprigs, our berries, and our little bow. See, now I committed to a 5x7 card, but my original idea was a A2 size card. So now I'm wondering if maybe I don't have enough to carry it. Let's do the sentiment, and then maybe we can kind of bring the whole thing together. Okay. Now I showed you those beautiful sentiments. Where did I put them? Okay, here they are. Oh, Nana, thank you so much. All right, so I think I like the Merry and Bright because it would fit right in there, and we have kind of like a centralized our warm holiday wishes. That's cute too. But where do I want to? I want this to maybe help me have a more balanced design. So if I do it like that, maybe I could do the sentiment down here, and that would help kind of fill up the card a little bit. Merry Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas. Okay, so let's do a Merry Christmas from all of us. That's going to give us a little bit more room to kind of mess around with the placement, since we do have such a large area. Now, nobody is shocked that I will be doing some heat embossing for my sentiment. And do I have it? With all of these are pieces, so I hate to use them up. Here we go. So I have just like a navy. If you don't have a navy, you could absolutely do it on like, and then just ink it with the same colors that we inked before, but this is just going to be faster. All right. So now, all right, I got to move this. Oh yeah, for sure, sparkle hockey. Like we're gonna get out of a card without sparkle and white gel pen. All right, so we decided on Merry Christmas from all of us. So up there, maybe I'll do From Our Home to Yours, because that is a little bit longer and that lets us play a little bit more with how it's stacked. Yep, I'm going to do that one. Okay. So now, oh, and we didn't remember where we put our anti-static tool, did we? I showed it to you guys, and then I set it somewhere, and I said I didn't know where it went. I said it right out loud. What did I do with it? All right, well, I have to go. Oh, there it is. I set it over here. Why? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay, so that's still putting out a little bit, but just to show you guys, like, so that's putting out less, so I need to go this way. And then every time you, like this pumps it to prime it to get the powder out. So then there, see, like we have much more powder that time. Okay. So now we have our Brilliant White Pigment ink. You could absolutely do like a metallic or something, but I'm going to keep it simple. And I do like doing mine twice. Oh, I need to preheat. I haven't used my gun. It is very nice with the 5x7 cards that you can see the entirety of the folder. That part is very nice because it does give you such a good frame for so many different things. All right, so last time we used a clear sparkle. This time we're going to use a white detail. Okay. Oh, did you just see that? I just dumped it right on my desk. I just dumped it right on my desk. All right, that's okay. You are going to have to suffer through with me while I clean this up, though. How do I clean this up? I am too cheap to just waste it. So I will take a large paintbrush and I will scoop it to the edge of my glass mat, and I will catch it on that same paper, and then I will dump it back in. I will give you a little hinty hint that tomorrow I would have a different way to clean that if you are interested in stopping by for that live tomorrow. Okay, so now let's heat set this. Okay. So let's get our die cuts. Oh, what am I doing? What are you doing, girl? We did talk about like doing a card raffle. Didn't we talk about that? But you know I have to get Eric on board because I cannot be trusted under any circumstances. All right. It's not that one. Is it? No. No, it's not that one. Maybe this one? Is that one. Okay. There we go. How would we even do that? How would we even do like a card raffle? I guess I could just do it the same way I do the gift card, huh? You just randomly pick a winner. And then maybe I could have, maybe I could just have you guys email Betsy and she could forward me the email so I would have your address. Okay. Well, and we talked about like how several people have been like, oh, I'd love to have that card. And I literally don't do anything with them. Well, Christmas cards, I guess I do a little bit. But I don't know. I would have to ask Betsy because I don't want to put more on her. Because she obviously is very busy as well. So maybe I'll talk to her about that, and that will be maybe something we can do in the future. Okay. Did I line that up right? I think so. Okay. Oh, Betsy's still here. Betsy, that could work. Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. Okay. All right. I am not going to bring the die cutter back up here. I am just going to take this to the floor. Okay. So just going to pop these out. Now, one of the things that you will notice, like with the embossing, like see how you can see where like the tape kind of removes it. There is like a little bit of a film that's left. I cannot show you because I can't get my leg up here because I'm old and also not that flexible. But I'll see if I can show you on my shirt sleeve. I just take them and then I rub them on my pant leg. And then that gets rid of all of my extra powder. So, okay. Okay, from our home years. All right, so now let's get our items back here. And so I will have, I know if you guys watch my channel, you know that I've been doing kind of the edited replays over on my channel. So I don't know how many of you are even watching that because you're watching it live. So I'm not sure how many of you would even go back and watch that. But nonetheless, if you are interested in watching last week's, we did the coffee mugs. That will be up on my channel later today, the edited version of that. All right, so then I want them to be not symmetrical, but I want them to be friends. Okay. We got our little sprig here. And then our holly. Berries, sprig, bow. Maybe I need to move the berries up. Where are my tweezers? There they are. So I just had them. What is the name of the embossing folder? That is an excellent question. And I don't know, not off the top of my head, and I can't get into the thing. I can't get into the thing to look while I'm live. So I'll post it in the description. Okay. All right. So maybe up there, like where it's a little bit. No, I don't like that because it's competing for space. Maybe I do this. Maybe I just suck it up and accept that they should be parallels instead of making things more complicated than they need to be. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Bring you around this side. Excuse me, sir. You need to be lower. Thank you. Okay. You need to come out here. And then we'll do our little berries. So I don't love that the berries and the bow are the same color. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go in and make these the same color as the candy canes because they aren't lying on top of each other like the bow and the berries are. So it should help them to stand apart from each other. Where's the 29? There it is. Okay. And then the 35. There it is. Okay. All right. So now these should stand out from each other a little bit nicer. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That is better. So this whole thing needs to come up. And then maybe I just need to move this up. This part, you guys remember watching my channel when I'm always like, ugh, die cuts. It's because of this. It's because of the arranging, then constantly having to move everything drives me to madness. All right, then the bow. So then if we did Merry Christmas, and then offset it with the from our home to yours. This maybe we don't do. Maybe we just offset it there and move this over. Okay. I think that will be okay. Alrighty. We're going to start gluing. If I can find what I did with my glue. Over here. I'm a mess. All right. Okay. So this one is going to go like this. Yes, that is an excellent idea. You could absolutely heat emboss the berries so that they stand out a little bit more. There are a lot of other like techniques and things that you can do with these die cuts, which I'm sure before this holiday season is over, I will absolutely partake in. That was the fastest way to fix the problem. But there are several ways that you can make them stand out from each other. Okay. All right, so there's that. Nope. This is because I didn't want to put it back in my holder. So we don't need a ton of glue here. I mainly just put it on the middle. I am going to put, like, where the part where I cut it, I am going to put some. But we don't have to be wild about it. All right, so I'm going to do this here. And remember, we're putting dies on top of dies. I don't have a weight, but I know there are several other people who do very much enjoy using a little weight to help their die cuts adhere. Come on. Listen, I didn't want to store you upside down because you were leaking all over the place, and now you're being a pain in my tushy. Seriously? There we go. Okay. And then have our leaf, our little holly leaf. Oh, well, don't be sad. We will be together again soon. Okay. So many photos on the phone, part completed cards, find press and seal a bit too sticky after hours of coloring. So the press and seal is a very good trick. It does work well for like the hinge method specifically, but my problem is I can never remember all of the steps. Like you have to tape your base down. This is really, like, I'm going to need you to get with the program. Okay. And there we go. I'm just going to lay my bow here right now so that I can see where I'm going to tuck my berries into. Okay. And then our bow. Apparently I need to open a new glue. And of course it would be while we were live. I missed it. Why are we sad who won't be together? Bonnie said that she gets sad when I'm gluing because she knows that that means it's the beginning of the end. But we will be back together for another live soon. Or I have videos that will also coming up on my own channel, but also on Honeybee's channel. All right, so we decided what we were going to go to the left, I think. Yeah, because there's like a diagonal there. Yep, that works. Okay. This one, I do think I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape too, just to help it compete with the rest of the things. My daughter, I'm going to use them, I guess. She calls them stickers. Lord have mercy. I can't even. She calls them stickers. And she likes to peel them off of the release paper and stick them to other stickers. So that is why they look the way that they do. Yes, I would. Hockey, I agree. Die cutting the sentiment and stacking it is an excellent way to get the dimension, and then it does save you from having to deal with the foam tape. And I have done that several times in the past. For right now, it would just not make any sense for me to take the time to do that. The foam tape is going to be faster. I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit. Okay. Sometimes using the black when you have darker colored cardstock is easier because then you don't see the foam tape like creeping out from the side. All right, so let's put this centered. And I think, do we like it up here? I don't like it up here. Okay, we'll put it down here. And this one has the foam. And now we are on to the details. Okay, so in this design, all right, we have this little bit of a diagonal, but this leaves a lot of a gap here. So we are going to fill that in with some accessories, which in this case is going to be some rhinestones. I'm going to go this way, I think. Okay. I am using a little bit bigger ones than I would normally use because it's going to help fill up that size. But actually, these ones are the same size. And I know likey that. I like to have a lot of size variety in my rhinestones. Am I alone in that? I just like having a lot of different options. Is that one still? Yep, that one's still the same size, Kelly. Move along. Okay. And then these are the rainbow rhinestones. Okay. So there's there. I think we could do maybe 2 here and 1. Let's do 1, 2 up here. That way it'll help fill that space up. Okay. With the smaller ones. Am I the only person who's like a total rhinestone addict? Okay, so that kind of helps fills up that spot a little bit. And then we will, there it was. Okay. So I'm going to add shimmer to my candy canes, of course. And if you are working with alcohol markers, most of the time you don't have to worry about them picking up any ink and spreading it because alcohol markers are not activated with moisture. But if you did ink blending, you would need to pay attention. Okay. And now so we're going to do the highlight. This part of the cotton candy, the candy cane, is going to be where the will catch the most light. So I'm going to add my highlight there and along this side. Okay. We can do another little one over there if we wanted. For the bow, we're going to get those little loops. And then, of course, we could do the berries as well. But I actually think I'm going to, I'm not going to do glossy accents, but I am going to do, if I can find it, if I can locate it. I was reaching in the right spot. It was just a lot of other stuff. I am going to do the Stardust Stickles, and I'm going to do it on the bow, I think, instead of the berries. To help that stand out. Okay. I think this is going to be the last step, but before you run away, we still have to pick a winner. So hang tight. Okay. You didn't do one of the red stripes on the candy cane. Is that on purpose? What? I didn't do one of the red stripes on the candy cane. Was it on purpose? Hockey, what are you talking about? I'm confused. Help me. All right, I'm going to wait for her to answer me. I'm going to bring me back. Hello. Oh, I'm very close. I am very close to you. Oh, you guys are so kind. I'm so glad that you enjoy the lives. So I am really happy with the way that the white pen highlight. Yeah, so you don't have to do it on all of the spots. Sometimes less is more. So I did it on the high points, and then just a little bit on each side. This one, because remember they're opposites. The stripes are opposites because we used different ones. So there's too much white. We're over here, like I put the highlight down here because this side is red. If I do it over here, you won't even see it because it's on the white. Okay, so now let's pick a winner. Okay, and get some tea. Alrighty, so I am going to look down so that way I'm not looking at the comments, and I'm just going to scroll back until we feel like we have found a winner. Lisa GK, you are our winner. Yay, congratulations. So you will send an email to Betsy at customercare@honeybeestamps.com, and she will hook you up with your $25 gift card. You guys are always so kind to hang out with me and spend your time with me. I appreciate you so very much. So like I said, I will have the edited version of last week's up later on my channel today if you wanted to see how those coffee cards ended up coming together. I hope that you enjoyed your sneak peek of our merry moments, and I think that's it. So I will see you guys on Monday. Okay? All right. Bye.